Desert Healthcare District and Foundation presents a podcast that supports your health and wellness where you live. This is Healthy Desert, Healthy You, hosted by Will Dean. Now, here's Will.
Hello, friends. Today, I am joined by a special guest. I am here with Fernando Gutierrez, who is a community engagement specialist with the Coachella Valley Mosquito and Vector Control District. Welcome, Fernando.
Thank you, Will. Thank you for having me. Well, it's a great honor to be here.
So this is a very hot topic when it comes to mosquitoes in the Coachella Valley. Would you share with our listeners exactly what the district is and what it does, its mission?
Yes, we are a special district, and we go back almost 100 years for this area of the Coachella Valley. Our job is to keep an eye on the vectors, any insect or mammal that can affect our families, our community, in a negative way. So let's think about mosquitoes, let's think about rats, even fire ants that can bite our family while sitting in the grass. This is what we do as an agency, going back to 1928.
And you were telling me, we had a little bit of a discussion before the podcast, and you were telling me there are many different variants or species of mosquitoes. How many do we have in the Coachella Valley?
Yes, in the Coachella Valley, in this area, we're special. We have more than a dozen of different species of mosquitoes. But our programs, our vector control programs, our mosquito control programs focus on 3 of those mosquitoes. 2 of those are the queueless mosquitoes, or the brown ones, as we call them here.
Okay.
Those are the classic mosquitoes that we can find in, let's think about irrigation channels. Let's think about areas where water is going to sit there for a couple of days in our community. Also, we have the Salton Sea, which is one of the biggest bodies of water in California. We also keep an eye on those big bodies of water. And so that's what we do, keep an eye on the areas where mosquitoes can be produced. And we also trap mosquitoes in those communities. So we have 3 of those species that we trap, and we look inside the mosquito. And we also see if those mosquitoes have disease in them. So they have the 2 queueless mosquitoes and a new introduced mosquito in our community, which is the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which is an invasive mosquito new to our community. And that mosquito in particular, we detected it in 2016, is now present in every single community of the Coachella Valley. So it's here and thriving.
Here and thriving. So I mentioned earlier that a lot of people are talking about mosquitoes. Would you say it's been an unusually busy mosquito season? And exactly what is the mosquito season in the Coachella Valley?
Yes, also we'll feel the weather right now. We'll feel in the 80s, 90 degrees. It's still hot. Our mosquitoes are thriving. They're loving it. We, as humans, also create little sources around our home, and that is also creating a little bit of mosquito problem. Anything holding water for a couple of days, standing water, can actually be a mosquito problem. So there's been an active mosquito season. Yes, our data shows a little bit more than the average in regards to mosquitoes that we are trapping around our communities. And we also have, Will, that new invasive mosquito, Aedes aegypti, which loves humans. It's a daytime biter. It's a mosquito that doesn't fly far and only requires a little bit of water. So that is the difference that our communities are seeing. Our families during the day are getting mosquito bites. We're sitting in our patios enjoying our lifestyle,
right,
and we're getting mosquito bites. And that is what our communities are also telling us. Yes, we have a longer mosquito season. And here in this area, I believe it doesn't stop during fall season. We have a longer mosquito season.
So I think we humans could maybe use a little less love from the mosquitoes. And when we think about mosquitoes, I think people are most familiar with West Nile virus being the result of mosquito bites. Could you talk a little bit about that? And what are some of the other health risks besides West Nile virus?
Yes, in this area, in the Coachella Valley, we do have some virus activity in mosquitoes. And that's exactly what our mosquito control programs do. Keep an eye on the mosquitoes flying in the environment. So far this season, we detected 13 positive mosquitoes with West Nile detected inside of them, and 96 samples of St. Louis encephalitis, which is another mosquito-borne transmitted disease. There's been over 100 positive mosquitoes in the environment. But let me tell you this, Will, 0 human cases.
Okay.
There's been no human cases with West Nile here in this area, in the Coachella Valley.
That sounds like a tribute to the district and the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's the difference our vector control programs make in our community.
Yeah. How do you detect that there are mosquitoes carrying the virus here? What is that process like?
Yes, we trap mosquitoes every 2 weeks, different key parts of the community. Once we collect those mosquitoes overnight, we take those mosquitoes to our lab, our facilities, and we have the instruments to look inside those mosquitoes and detect if there's virus inside of the mosquito. If we detect any virus inside the mosquito, our operations team decides, steps in and goes into that key location looking for water sources, also doing treatments as needed. So everything, our program, vector control programs are based on science. We just don't select different parts of the city and decide, we're going to spray here or there. No, everything is based on science, on observations, trappings, and we respond accordingly. We have been conducting treatments in different parts of the Coachella Valley. We did a few in Palm Springs. We did a few in, I believe, in Cathedral City. And this is in response to the high number of mosquitoes in that area as well. It's not only to virus activity, but also if we detect a big spike of mosquitoes, we respond accordingly.
But mosquitoes are present throughout the valley.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes. So and like I said, we have been experiencing a little bit higher than the average, especially in those Culex quinquefasciatus, which is the city mosquito, and also in the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which is the invasive one that can transmit dengue, chikungunya, and yellow fever. So it's an important mosquito to keep an eye on.
And that's the more aggressive mosquito?
That is correct. That's the daytime aggressive biter that I was describing prior.
So what can citizens do to prevent mosquito bites? What's your best advice?
The best thing people can do is keep everything as dry as they can around their dwelling, their home. It requires a quick inspection, no water, no mosquitoes. But if mosquitoes are already flying in the environment, mosquito repellent. We recommend 4 different products. Anything with DEET, Picardin, IR 3535, and then your plant-based organic oil, lemon, eucalyptus. These are approved by the EPA. They're effective, and they're going to keep mosquitoes away for a few hours. Please read the label as needed.
So that's anytime you go outside that you need to be sprayed and covered with DEET or some other type of repellent?
Yeah, I believe that's the best thing you can do, Will, because when mosquitoes are biting you, and by the way, only the female mosquito bites. She's the one that needs that little boost of energy, that protein, to continue having babies. So that way, repellent is going to make you smell different, less attractive to mosquitoes. That's the way they work. And it will fade away where you sweat with the UV rays. So please read the label, apply as needed. And that's a good way of protecting yourself. Don't believe in those bracelets. Think about the little radius of protection. Citronella candles, they're not as effective because they only provide a little bit of radius around the candle. So the best thing you can do, apply repellent to exposed skin to protect you from mosquito bites. And that's approved by the EPA, and it's an effective way of keeping mosquitoes away from you.
So we've been talking a lot about mosquitoes, but I know there are other vectors that you deal with as well. You mentioned rodents earlier, but what are some of the other types of insects, animals that you work with through the district?
Yes, we also have additional programs such as the fire ant program, which is a great one. We inspect and treat grass areas in the Coachella Valley. This is another good example of an invasive species. These are not native from this area, and now we're paying the price. They are really hard to eradicate. They normally stay in the grass areas, make little mounds, and our families are playing in the grass. Once you realize these aggressive ants are all over you, and you can end up being in the hospital if you are sensitive to bees, which these are related to bees.
Okay.
So that's a vector that can affect our families in a negative way, and we have the program in place to help you out. So you as a resident can request our service, and this is paid for by your property tax. So it's our service that you already paid for.
And the service is?
It's a pesticide treatment in the grass, and that's going to protect you, suppressing this colony for a few months. Of course, you have to call us to request the service. You can do this by accessing our website, cvmosquito.org, or by calling at 760-342-8287.
What is the most important information? What should our listeners take away from this conversation in terms of dealing with this issue in the Valley?
I say the takeaway message is keep everything as dry as you can. Mosquitoes sometimes fly far, and they will find this area. and they will, if possible, make it a good habitat to continue their legacy. So my advice is keep no water, no mosquitoes, and we have to start using mosquito repellent in this area to protect your family, have peace of mind. And that's my opinion, and I believe vector control is a community effort. Everybody, we have to help each other. What happens in your yard, it will affect your neighbors as well. So this is one of the key missions that we all have to work together. So that's why our presence in community events, having that resource table is key. Also, Desert Healthcare District, you put together meetings where different agencies can, gather resources, share, and work together with the same goal to provide these services for our residents of the Coachella Valley.
Absolutely. And to clarify, so residents can actually call the district if they want their yard or an area in their home treated, right?
That is correct.
Right.
If you are experiencing something that is out of the ordinary, you're keeping everything dry around your property, and mosquitoes continue, call us. We can help you. We can send someone to take a closer look and find this mosquito source. Remember, you just spray with a little bit of chemicals. That is not the solution. We have to suppress that water source or find what's going on, because every 7 days, a new family of mosquitoes will be produced in that area.
I'm going to go back to something you said earlier when I asked you about a season. You talked about the weather. We're here mid-November 2025. Beautiful weather, a little warm still. That seems ideal for mosquitoes. But earlier, I believe that you said that they adapt as well. So they possibly would be around during the summer?
That is correct. The cold weather will slow down mosquitoes a little bit. Well, they will be here. They'll continue being here. And like I said, Mother Nature will find a way. In our area, I say mosquitoes continue throughout the year.
Oh, wow.
We have to constantly keep in mind, keep everything as we can. And if you are in an area where mosquitoes are active, please wear some repellent. That's the way of protection.
All right. Any other programs or projects that you want to talk about the district is doing?
Yeah, lately I have the honor of working. We are getting some reports of brown dot ticks in the eastern part of the valley. So our teams are assessing some of these affected areas, and we'll determine if we're going to continue or create a program for that specific need. And I believe you're going to have our laboratory manager, Jennifer Henke, here to talk about some of these interesting programs. But also, we are conducting a special program, which is a pilot program about the sterile insect technique in one of our areas, where in this technique, there's male mosquitoes get sterilized with gamma rays and then released into the environment. And this male mosquito will find a female mosquito and mate, and their offspring will not be viable. Their eggs will not hatch. And this has been used with flies for many years. So now we're doing some testing to sterilize these male mosquitoes. Their sperm will be not effective, and that's one less female mosquito to worry about, in addition to our vector control program. So that's really exciting. Also, the use of technology. Nowadays, our programs are using drones, which is a faster, more effective way of inspecting areas. Let's think about the Salton Sea, where we send some of our stuff in the middle of nowhere. So this way, a drone can go back and forward in a safe way, fast and more effective. And we can also do pesticide applications in a precise way using this type of equipment.
Oh, wow. That's wonderful technology, but also the sterilization program sounds really interesting.
Yes, it's been done going back to the 60s with flies. So now the vector control districts are doing this. And I believe Orange County, they're already doing some releases. And here we're still in the development of that program.
So when you're trapping the mosquitoes in the different areas, that's when you would find the males to sterilize?
Actually, it gets done inside the laboratory. Okay. Those mosquitoes are grown, separated by gender, and then treated, and then released.
Okay. I'm going to talk a little bit about the brown dog ticks. So these are ticks that, of course, affect dogs and also humans. And what are the effects?
Right now, we just did a survey in some of these areas in the eastern part of the valley where this has been reported. And some ticks were collected, and that's where we're at right now. So there's no program in place, and Jennifer will elaborate more in regards to that.
Yes, we are going to have Jennifer on the podcast. I'm excited about that. So once again, for our listeners who have questions, want information, would you share the website again?
Of course. Our main website is cbmosquito.org. And also a good way to get information is in our social media channel. We have Facebook, we have Instagram. This is a good way where we create good content talking about mosquitoes, talking about repellent, talking about sources. And this is a good way where people can get the good information, relevant information, and to help us as a community effort.
So listeners, you heard it. You just check out your social media for the Coachella Valley Mosquito and Vector Control District. Fernando, thank you for being here. Thank you for the great work that you're doing with the district.
Thank you for having me, Will.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Healthy Desert, Healthy You. This podcast is a production of the Desert Healthcare District and Foundation in Palm Springs, California. For more information, please visit the website dhcd.org. Our annual conference site is healthydesert.healthyu.com. This podcast is available at most major podcast portals, including Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Audible, Captivate.fm, Spotify, and YouTube Music. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe.